yesterday I recorded a cookup video and I made 2 crazy samples. They turned out really nice, but for some reason the footage looks like this. What the hell? But I still want to show you the samples, so this is gonna be like a little breakdown of how I made them. So like I said, I made 2 samples. One of them is more dark and moody, like some Drake, Party Next Door type stuff. And the second one is more like a classic R&B, slow jam, Isaiah Falls type of thing. So let me show you how I made them. Alright, so this is the first sample. And I started with this piano from SoundPaint. SoundPaint is completely free. It's kind of like Contact. And this is also like the free piano bank that comes with it. And I came up with this pattern. I just played around on the keys until I found these chords and I played that in. And afterwards I just added the bass notes and I drew in these little passing chords. So we're in F sharp minor and this is a 6-4-1-3 progression. So we have D major 7, B minor 7, F sharp minor 7 and A major 7. And then for these passing chords, I knew I want to have like a walk up kind of thing. I just figured out the bass notes first to resolve to the D again, which is the first chord. And then I just turned them into chords. So I just repeated the A major 7 up to the B minor 7. And this one is a C sharp half diminished. Usually in the scale it would be a C sharp minor 7, like this. But I turned it into a diminished to add a bit more tension and that soulful feeling. And you can keep in mind you can always use a diminished chord 1 semitone below the chord you want to go to. So in this case we want to go back to the first chord, right, which is the D major. So we can go 1 semitone below, which is C sharp, and then use a diminished chord and it resolves back really nicely. And now that I'm hearing this, I should have probably cut the space note away right here and maybe add them like this. So after that I added some layers on that. First we have this E piano, which is pretty much just layering the chords for like a high sparkly kind of layer. Pretty much just played the chords right here and then walked up with some notes right there. And then I used the same E piano sound again, but on another channel because I wanted to add some different type of effects to it. And with that I just added a passing chord right here. And it's the same thing again, just a diminished chord, 1 semitone below the chord we're going to. Just adds a bit of tension and release. And the last layer here is this Sine pad. With that I just layered these passing chords at the end. And for the effects we have just a bit of EQ on the piano. I really like the preset, so I didn't have to do much. Then on the high sparkly E piano I added some more atmospheric effects like crystallizer, flangers, delay, panned it from left to right a bit. And on the other E piano I didn't want all that delay and that washed out stuff on it, so instead I added a bit of distortion for more presence, a flangers as well and some EQ. And on that Sine pad I didn't add anything, just some EQ. So this is what we have. And with the piano I was immediately getting this Drake kind of vibe from it. So next element I added are these toms, like the typical drowned out Drake kind of toms. And once I had that I knew I can't go without a vocal sample. So we have this.
Oh, you make me feel so lucky. Feel so lucky.
And then this one, which is pretty much just like ad-libs, harmonies.
Ooh, ooh,
These vocals are by Riri. She's a really talented producer and vocalist. Definitely check her out. Whenever I use vocals, it's mostly hers, honestly. And yeah, I stretched it to the BPM, of course, pitched them to the right key, and then I chopped them up to get exactly what I had in mind.
Oh, you make me feel so lucky. Lucky, yeah.
And of course I can't leave them dry like that. On the main vocals we have some simple EQ, a bit of compression, some decapitator. I feel like they needed a bit more high end, and then some more EQ. And on the harmonies just a bit of delay. And then I routed both of these to the same mixer track. On there I added a little alter boy to add a higher layer, some EQ, a little bit of flangers, a little bit of delay, and some more EQ. And this is what they sound like now.
Oh, you make me feel so lucky.
And as you can hear, right at the end I added this little automation for this second delay, which just makes the transition to the next section really nicely. I always really like when elements don't stop or start exactly on the first beat. It just makes it feel like you're breaking out of like that 4-bar loop a bit. Next I added this bass line and I used my live bass for that. I knew I want to keep it very simple for that sample. We already have the piano and the vocals which make up pretty much the entire sample, so we don't want to overpower that with like a crazy bass line. So I mostly just played the root notes. I knew that I'm gonna take the vocals out for the second section, so on this second half right here I tried to add a little bit more variation with the bass.
Oh, you make me feel so lucky.
So now I tried to fill up this second section a bit, and the main things I added are these two phrases, and these are actually my own phrases. I have like a huge folder here with all kind of phrases and accents and textures, also like percussion loops and stuff. If you're interested in these, you can get them in my Lucid Weekly subscription, where I send you a brand new sample pack with sounds like these and also samples and starters every week. Link is in the description as always. So yeah, I picked these two and kind of chopped them up a bit. This was like a really nice accent on the first beat. And this is more like a lead kind of thing. And for effects, I just added some delay on the first one, and on the lead some delay as well, and a bit of plate reverb to wash it out a bit. And then I just wanted some non-melodic textures, so I added some good old chimes to make it sparkle a bit. And then this percussion loop, which is also from my Lucid Weekly subscription. But on this one, I actually didn't really want the percussion hits. I was mostly after like the high-end texture, like the little noise and the sparkles of the cymbals. So what I did was I added a very aggressive limiter to pretty much just push down all of the transients. So it sounds like this now. All together, it sounds like this. So I was really happy with that section now, and I wanted to add a few more details on the first section, and I wanted to add some synth accents. So for that I used this preset and I came up with this pattern. I literally just recorded and played in random notes because I didn't really have a melody in mind, but I had like a rhythm in mind that I want to play it in. So I just played in some random notes, but captured the rhythm I was imagining, and then afterwards I just pushed them around in the piano roll to get like notes that really fit. Sounds like this. Very simple, just some accents, because again, we already have like most of the sample pretty much. I don't want to add any new melodies or anything. And for effects on this, I added a little alter boy to bring the formants down. That way it sounds a bit more low and muffled. An EQ, flanges, some more EQ and some delay. So we went from this to this. And then I added one more synth accent. For that I use this preset in Analog Lab. And for that I just played one note and I made it slide. And I literally just played this. I recorded that into Edison, then pitched it down an octave and just added some play to wash it out and push it in the background. Sounds like this now. Oh, you make me feel so lucky. Lastly, I just added some simple rain ambience, but the real magic happens now at the very end, because I decided to pitch everything down 4 semitones. So much sexier like this. And yeah, that's the first sample. The second sample looks like this, and for this one I actually started with my guitar, and I can actually show you how I played this. So for this I did something I've been really loving recently, which is using a very simple, very subtle like chorus and amp preset. Like nothing crazy at all. And then I'll turn this tone knob like all the way down. So like that I'm taking out all the highs. And it gives that really warm, deep kind of sound. So it sounds really cool, and it also gives lots of space in the high frequencies for like layers and stuff. So with that I came up with a simple chord progression. It was like... So we're in the key of G minor, and it's pretty much just a 4-1 progression. So C minor to G minor, with a few little variations and passing chords in between. So first I'm playing a C minor 9. Then we have the passing chords, which are D sharp major 9, A sharp major 7, to the 1, to the G minor 7. And for the second time I'm playing a C minor 7 this time, D sharp major 9 again, but then I'm playing a D dominant 7, which is the 5 chord of the scale as a dominant chord. Back to the 1, to the G minor. At the very end I'm playing this B diminished. Like in the last sample, the exact same trick, playing the diminished 1 semitone below the chord we want to go to. And this progression works really well because we have some really nice voice leading at some points. And voice leading pretty much just means choosing the chords and the voicings in a way that the highest note makes a nice melody. So for example, in the second half we have... this. So we have the top note doing, which I think is really nice. And then at the end, which I like the most, where the top note is going, which I think sounds really beautiful. And I was really struggling to find the BPM and rhythm of this until I realized what I had in mind is in 3/4. So we're in a 3/4 time signature at 140 BPM, and this is what the guitar sounds like. Like I said, we have lots of space in the high end now. So to fill that up, I used my guitar again, this time with the wah pedal. And I pretty much just layered the main chords. Then I added some more wah guitar, this time as like some lead melodies. And I used my usual approach of like playing lots of random stuff and then picking the best parts of that. For this, you gotta be very picky and only pick like the very best parts that stick out. And don't be scared to like puzzle like single notes together to just get exactly what you have in mind. It's actually very similar to the vocal sample earlier, where I also had to slice it up and push it around to get exactly what I have in mind. And this method of just playing in random stuff and picking the best parts is just really nice because you don't even have to have like an exact idea of the melody you want. You just play the random stuff, and when listening back to it, some parts will already spark your inspiration and give you the ideas you didn't have before. And then you can bring the ideas to life by slicing everything together. I don't know if I'm even making sense and yapping too much. So I ended up with this. Like, you know what I mean? This is something I would like never come up with if I tried to write a melody. Alright, and for the effects on the wah stuff, very simple probably. A very subtle like amp emulation thing, some fruity flanges, some reverb, EQs, taking out a bit of the transients, and it's pretty much the same for both wah layers. For the chord wahs, I'm taking out a bit more of the lows because I mainly want it as a high-end texture, and for the lead I'm adding some delay, and I'm keeping more of like the low mids. So for the next layers, I wanted to add a bit more texture, make it sound more full. First of all, I added an E-piano again. Same as in the last sample, this is really my go-to for E-pianos. For this, I'm literally doing nothing but playing the exact chords I'm playing on the guitar. And for effects, I'm using a pitch shifter to add a very subtle layer of the higher octave, make it sparkle a bit more, some EQ to only have the high end, some delay, and some more EQ to take out some annoying frequencies. Just filling out the high end a bit. And then I added another layer. And for this one, I added one of my own one-shots, again from my Lucid Weekly subscription. This one gives a really nice texture because it has like almost a second note at the end. If I play it here, you hear there's almost like a second note, and that's really nice because I have it on the resample mode, and that means the higher notes are faster and the lower notes are slower, right? And that way when I play a chord, you have the second note playing at different times, right? Like you hear all the different notes sparkle and shimmer afterwards, and I think that just gives a very nice texture. For that I'm only playing the two main chords, and only thing I'm adding is some reverb. You don't hear the two layers too much, but they just give a nice atmosphere. So by now I was very happy with this as the main idea of the sample. And I just wanted to add some textures, enhance it a bit. And I added some percussion for that. Again, I think by now you can guess where this is from. And I don't mean to make this like an ad for my subscription the entire time. I like genuinely use these sounds like all the time. This is not even on purpose. So yeah, I pretty much just completely chopped up that percussion loop because we're in 3/4. So the rhythm is kind of different from a 4/4 sample. And it sounds like this. So then I felt like the noises of the percussion loop were a bit too choppy sounding. So to fix that, I just added some more noise to kind of glue everything together. And I felt like this fill right here is sounding a bit too dry for the rest of the sample. So to fix that and to transition a bit better, I just added this hi-hat swell right here. So for the next section, I took out the lead guitar to have more space for other elements. And you can see there's like a lot of similar approaches like in the last sample. Like this lead guitar is almost like the vocals in the last sample, where I have it as the main element, but then take it out later to introduce some more elements. So you can see you can get completely different sounds with similar techniques and approaches. So next I added these strings, and I just really love like a high string layer for some atmosphere. This is like very, very simple. I just played in some simple long notes. This is a string patch from Triton, and it sounds like this. Very simple, very beautiful. And what I always love to do for my strings is in the transition, I'll add some more one-shots, some more string layers to give it more depth and make it sound a bit more realistic and unique. And right here I added this one-shot. I love to use this. I think this is from Splice. And the second one is just this. Literally just a string note, but I added a little pitch automation to make it slide up. And together the transition sounds like this. Just makes it so much more interesting than only having this. And then I needed one more element that's more in the foreground for that section. And for that, I added a good old sine lead, also from Triton. And I came up with this pattern. The way I came up with this is I was kind of hearing like something like this. I played that in, which is this, and then I kind of just went from there and built on it. I feel like once you have a little melodic idea like that, it's much easier to find the rest that fits perfectly. And what really makes a huge difference for these leads is just adding a few very subtle pitch wobbles, because someone who can actually play is gonna do lots of this stuff, right? I suck at that, but I like to draw it in. So I just drew in these very subtle little wobbles, and it sounds like this now. For effects on that, I just have some devil lock. I really like this on sine leads because the sine lead is like pretty much just one frequency, right? And with that, you can add a bit of grid to it to give it a bit more presence in the mix. A little bit of EQ and some delay. And like that, I was only missing the bass line. I used my live bass for that again. And for this one, I tried to keep it as simple as possible, but still add a few cool moments and let the bass shine a bit more than in the last sample. I did like 2 takes. I did this as like the main pattern, and then I added some little fills. As you can see, very simple, just mainly the root notes with a bit of variation every now and then. And then these fills are pretty special, I'd say. So for this one, I actually went along with the melody in the guitar. And then for this one, I'm just doing like a random fill that I came up with. But what's special about this is I wanted to make that wah as well. And And the way I like to do that is I'll have my regular effects on the bass, right? This is very simple. I just have a limiter to make sure everything is mostly the same volume. And then this preset, which is my go-to for bass, sounds like this. And then I'll duplicate this, bring it to a new mixer track. On there, I take out all the lows, and then I'll add a wah preset on that. For this, I added the Strat Funky Auto Filter. I really like that one. Then I just bring the sensitivity up a lot. Sounds like this. I probably should have taken out a bit of that noise. And yeah, and then I have the normal bass and like this wah layer that I can just bring in as much as I want. And it just makes it stand out so much more. And yeah, that's all the elements for this sample. Again, I pitched it in the end. I pitched it up 3 semitones. And yeah, that's the second sample. Thanks a lot for watching. I know kinda sucks that I can't show you the actual cooker, but I hope you could still learn something and get inspired. And yeah, thanks for watching.